So I've been at Grace Church since 2006. We're a multi-generational Bible teaching church. Believe in the sovereignty of God and getting missions to the ends of the earth. So getting the gospel everywhere. And so we're excited to be a part of this in the missions course. And yeah, thanks for having me.
What kind of impact are you guys seeing now finishing the missions course here at GCO? What's the impact been?
Yeah, the impact's been wonderful. Our impacts have been from immediate in terms of even after session one, we made changes. We noticed there were some things that we were missing on our website as it relates to missions. We basically had a lot of short-term missions. We talked about all of our long-term missionaries, but there was no pathway to be able to go and express even interest in being a long-term missionary. Besides that, and there were some things that we did in terms of pathway to long-term missions engagement immediately. Short-term missions opportunities ramped up in a big way, and then local outreach opportunities being listed. But probably the biggest impact was several of our students, young students, were saying, I want to do this. I want to go. And we have, I think, 3 or 4 that are considering this and taking steps in the right direction.
I'd love to hear which lessons you would say had the greatest impact here at GCO while you guys were going through the missions course.
Lesson 5 and lesson 6. So I'm going to give you 2, okay? Lesson 5 on church planting was the idea of, staying is necessary, was particularly impactful to a lot of our college students. And we've seen an uptick in our college students in terms of long-term missions interest in this past year. So that was wonderful. My personal favorite was lesson 6. Your role and what it looks like to be a global Christian and what next steps you can take. And that was Luke Womack. And, his outline was stellar and it was just on point and it really brought together everything in the missions course.
I'd love to hear what your advice or recommendations would be for someone that's on the fence about the missions course. What would you want them to know about how it could look at their church?
Okay, so here we go. If you're on the fence about the missions course and you're like, why would I want to do this particular course, but also spend this amount of money and this amount of time and effort to put something on? Let me ask you one question. What are you doing now and how's that working for you? Like, is what you're doing now getting more people to go to the ends of the earth with the gospel? How is what you're currently doing working for you? And I would venture to guess that a lot of pastors and church leaders would say, we see some room for improvement. Like, how focused is your entire church body on taking the gospel to the ends of the earth and doing that in a very pointed and committed and Christ-centered way long term? And then when you answer that question, I would say you see need for improvement, or you see that you could have your entire church body, more wrapped up in Christ's command, and you need to focus your efforts more precisely, then do the missions course. It is biblically solid. It is, get the gospel to the ends of the earth. And do it in a passionate way, do it in a way that that fits where you're at, and just trust the Lord and go. And I think the missions course is more engaging than anything I've ever seen when it comes to a missions type teaching. It gets you involved with the content, goes right into the Word. What does the Word say about it? What does God intend? What's God's plan for this? And then it gets the participants engaged with one another all the way through the 6 weeks. And so you're not just sitting in a room all by yourself. I mean, you can do it that way, but being with a group, being with a cohort, being with a large group that's going through this, or a small group, however your church wants to do it, it makes a difference because now you have the shared experience and it's like, let's go do something. If I had to look out and go, I wonder what's going to happen in 10 years, 5 years, 10 years down the road as Grace Church sending people out, I would imagine that there could be some that say, hey, we were both at the missions course, or 3 of us were at the missions course. We want to now go. We want you to send us out as a team on this foreign field. And we would rejoice. We'd rejoice and do it wholeheartedly.